Mick, what do you say about South Carolina and how much does Haley need to win her home state? And also, too, you look back to the Iowa caucuses, DeSantis came in second. So why is this being viewed as a Trump versus Haley match? Explain that for people at home.
Well, New Hampshire is being viewed as Trump versus Haley because DeSantis sort of telegraphed early on, several months ago, he was going to spend most of his time, all of his time in Iowa. Really, that's not unusual. A lot of candidates do it. Chris Christie, for example, only picked New Hampshire, didn't spend any time in Iowa. That's fairly common in this business. But it's still a three-person race with one person way far out in front. To your question about South Carolina, my home state, Nikki was my governor. We were in the legislature together. What we know in South Carolina is that it is Trump country. There is no question about it. And those 30-point leads for Trump feel like they are right. The issue is this, though. The rest of the country doesn't get that. What the rest of the country is going to see is Nikki Haley, the governor of South Carolina, losing maybe South Carolina by 30 points. That's a problem nationally. You can't explain that to people outside your home state, and that's the difficulty she faces. I disagree with Chris on this, though. I think Ron DeSantis sees weakness for Nikki Haley in South Carolina. I don't get the impression he's taking from Donald Trump there. He might be taking from Nikki Haley and maybe a calculated risk to think, you know what, if I can beat her in South Carolina, I move to the head of the class for 2028, because that's really what this race between these two people is all about right now.
And Chris, let me give you the last word here. Looking ahead to New Hampshire, how odd was it then that she canceled her debate? I mean, that fallout continues over GOP debates being canceled after President Trump is surely not going to show up. Now she's refusing to show up. Niall Stanage over the Hill wrote this, and he begs the question, do debates still matter? Writing, quote, there are sharp questions about whether debates themselves are becoming less salient, especially in a political age where cable news and social media provide more partisan and less risky ways for candidates to engage voters' attention. So are debates now seen as more of a risk than they are a reward?
Well, clearly when the frontrunner doesn't want to show up to the debate, what is the point of having a debate if you're Nikki Haley? You're going to debate Ron DeSantis, who's 15, 20, 30 points behind you in the polls in New Hampshire? But I'm a big believer that when you're seeking public office, you should show up and face your opponent. I think that that's something that should happen, whether you're Nikki Haley or Donald Trump. And the fact that Donald Trump skipped all these debates and still won Iowa says more about the Republican Party and Trump's hold over it, although, again, 49% of them didn't want him, and he should be very concerned about that, than it does about the candidates. And I think candidates should debate. Mick and I come here and we debate every week. It doesn't hurt us. We enjoy each other's company. I think that we should all be debating and talking about the issues. That's what makes us Americans. We discuss our problems with each other, and then we pick somebody to go resolve them in the way who makes the best presentation. Trump should debate, Haley should debate, DeSantis should debate, and when the general election comes, Biden and Trump should debate at least 3 times.
Do you
if
think
Donald
that'll
Trump
happen?
doesn't want to do that, he shouldn't run for president. No, I don't.
Your bets from both of you. You don't think we're going to see a Biden-Trump debate?
But Trump doesn't even know who he's running against. He's saying he's running against Obama. I don't think he's going to show up for a debate against Biden.
Oh, come on. Mick, what say you? Are we going to see debates or no?
I don't think you'll see any debates. The Biden team does not want him on the stage against Donald Trump. Doesn't want him on stage against anybody. And they've got the perfect excuse. Chris is right in this. By skipping the Republican primary debates, Donald Trump has given Joe Biden the excuse that Biden desperately wants not to debate Trump in the general election. I don't think we'll see any debates between the two leading candidates this year.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.